You're probably familiar with Jakarta's old city and its colonial buildings, but over the years a lot of it has actually disappeared. Today we are going to uncover a very little piece of history here in Jakarta, namely the former Batavia Noord train station. This is a terminus station now, but there used to be another station here, built by the Batavia Oosterspoorwegmaatschappij in the late 19th century, which was not a terminus station, which meant there were tracks running from here, right in front of us, behind the building site, towards the west. The only remnants are two pillars of a bridge under a viaduct now, so we won't go there for now, but there is another thing that we can explore, which is the location of the old station. And all around us there are quite some colonial buildings left. Right in front of us is the Mandiri Museum, which is a state-owned bank museum, which used to be the Nederlandsch-Indische, as you can see just below that. Next building over used to be the Javase Bank, and is now the Bank Indonesia Museum. And if we scroll a little bit to the right again, against the sun, so probably doesn't look really good, is Bank Mandiri, one of the state-owned banks. And that used to be the building of the Nationale Handelsbank. The first version of the station right here, built by the Batavia Oosterspoorwegmaatschappij, was built in 1887 and was demolished in the late 1920s to make way for the current station. The train station built by the Nederlandsch-Indische spoorwegmaatschappij, right at this location, 100 meters in front of me, was built in 1871 already. It was electrified in the 1920s, only for it to be closed down a few years later because of the completion of the train station behind me. We are now walking over to Taman Fatahillah, or previously also known as Stadhuisplein. This used to be the old center of Batavia as a town. So outside the two stations with their respective tracks, there also used to be a tram running right here. That one used to run in front of the building of the Nederlandse Handelsmaatschappij towards the south, passing the Javase Bank building, and then with a curve towards the Stadhuis right over there. Most of that tram network has been broken up in the early 20th century. The last piece is only closed down in the 1950s. Recent construction works on the MRT Jakarta line, the extension of the north-south line here. They have during the construction of the MRT north-south line here in northern Jakarta, they found some of the tracks. Most of the track will be kept in its place. Only a little segment will be used to be on display in Jakarta Kota MRT station once it's operational in a few years' time. Okay, let's hold it right there. That's quite some information already, so I want to make clear what we are looking at based on a map from 1914, as most of the colonial buildings around here were constructed already and both stations were still here at the time. Both the station of the Batavia Oosterspoorwegmaatschappij, Batavia Zuid, as well as the Nederlandsch-Indische spoorwegmaatschappij, Batavia Noord, had their tracks running all the way up to this road at the time. When the Staatsspoorwegen rebuilt Batavia Zuid station, the station was moved to the east about 100 meters, so a plaza could be created in front of it. That's the location we were in the clips before this explainer. We are going to walk over to the location of the other station here, Batavia Noord. Back in the day, this route wasn't possible as there was a number of tracks here instead. You would have to follow the main road 100 meters to the west of here. We are currently at the location of the former Batavia Noord Nederlandsch-Indische spoorwegmaatschappij station, and you can only see that if you have an aerial picture from that time. And if you match that aerial picture with the current situation, you'll notice that those buildings right over there are over a century old. This building is newer, as is the 5-story building which is the tax office. And right there is City Hall. Right in between City Hall and those old warehouses is where the old Batavia Noord station used to be. This means We are right there. If you walk to the east, we will find some remnants of that very old rail line. It's a little bit, but it's still there. Let's walk over first. Where this soccer field used to be roughly the location of the Batavia station built by the Nederlandsch-Indische spoorwegmaatschappij. Across the street, slightly to the west of that soccer field we saw earlier, there used to be a train loop here to connect both the Batavia stations belonging to the Batavia spoorwegmaatschappij and the Nederlandsch-Indische spoorwegmaatschappij. Roughly, that loop would be a track from here with a nice curve going behind the tree, and there's the mosque you can see, to connect up with the current Jakarta Kota station, which is right behind that building over there. Outside this loop here, there used to be a train line running all the way to the seaport of Tanjung Priok, just a few kilometers to the east of here. That track has been broken up now, but there's still a line running from Jakarta Kota station all the way to Tanjung Priok, 200 meters to the south. Right outside this relatively new parking lot, there is a canal, and across from it are a number of warehouses date back to the Dutch colonial time. This insignificant railway bridge is actually a remnant of the track that ran to Tanjung Priok. This was one of the first rail lines built here in the Batavia area, and this bridge dates to the very late 19th century. What you hear behind me is a thunderstorm brewing. I didn't expect that to happen today. We are now walking on this over a century old bridge. This used to be a track. We can see that in two different ways. This bridge is slightly curved, so trains could enter the station. If you look closer, you'll see there's still tracks. Outside this one remaining bridge, there's also evidence of other rail bridges that used to be left and right of it. Those tracks have long since been demolished though, leaving only this single curved bridge for pedestrians to cross the canal here. Tracks running on these bridges would connect up only with Batavia Noord station. The active tracks I showed you earlier gave access to Batavia Zuid station only. The curved track where the parking lot is now used to be a shortcut connection between the two stations. With this bridge here, where is the currently active track? Well, only like 150-200 meters towards the south. That bridge itself is also pretty old. It was built in the early 20th century together with the second iteration of Jakarta Kota, then Batavia train station. And there used to be tracks running towards the east here, but those no longer exist, as you can see. We can make it over to the railway bridge that has been maintained, the one that was built about a century ago, which is straight ahead or slightly to the south from where we are now. A lot of commercial activity here. I think we can slip through and have a look how far we are. There are two orange roofs you can see, one on this side of the track and one on the far side of the tracks. Those are the original signal houses. That's all that is remaining of the tracks to Tanjung Priok and the old Nederlandsch-Indische spoorwegmaatschappij station of Batavia Stad. But there's much more to explore here in Jakarta, and I'm going to follow up on some more. There is one nearby, and further to the south there used to be an opium plant even with its own station and tracks. That's for later.